so now I will turn the chairmanship over to Commissioner.
All right, we'll go through the resolutions. First one is 2023-0301, concerning it's introduced by Commissioner Roach, which is why he gave me the chair. So, it's concerning the Humane Society. Do you want to discuss that, Jeff?
I'm happy to. I'll go ahead and make a motion to send this resolution forward, so we can get on the floor to discuss.
Second.
Mr. Alice?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was doing it. Commissioner Roach has made a motion, seconded by Commissioner Alvis, to send this on to the full commission to be voted on. Is there any discussion?
So, Commissioner Gillum, I would like to talk about the resolution, and I'm going to recognize Ms. Roper if she would like to come and speak as well. So we've gone back and forth on how to allocate funds to the Humane Society. And I'll be the first to admit I think the Humane Society will agree that this is not a perfect resolution. I think they have their concerns with it as well. We need something tangible in place to help support the work that they do for Hawkins County. Now, I know that they have come before us quite a bit. They've talked to us. People who represent the Hawkins County Humane Society has been very willing to work with me and meet with me, and I'm very thankful for that. And so as we move forward, this resolution will allocate $250,000 in matching funds to be taken from the ARPA funds in a dollar-for-dollar match from all monetary fundraising efforts from Humane Society. So, Ms. Roper, would you like to come and share anything?
No, not really. I think we discussed all of it.
No, I don't have any questions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I can't remember if I'm allowed to.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So, I am in favor of doing something reasonable for the Humane Society. My question to you, Jason, or Commissioner Roach, would be the dollar-for-dollar match. So, I'm fine with that. I'll support it. Right? I don't have a problem with it necessarily. I'm not even willing to say I'm against it. But what is the thought process or the need in your opinion? What is the need for that? Rather than just a contribution?
I guess the idea for a dollar-for-dollar match comes from essentially in conversations that we've had with the Humane Society and some of the work that they have done, they're working on figuring out a way to help put some of the responsibility on them for the work that they're doing to build the building that they want to build, or whatever facility that they're wanting to expand into. As we started with an $800,000 request and went to a $400,000 request, that I think many people forget, and I like to go public again and say I voted in favor of the $400,000 request. That many folks have stated that I have not supported the Humane Society in my efforts. I, in fact, have plenty. Unfortunately, that resolution failed. So for me, this is a way to try to meet in the middle and say that the Humane Society will have an opportunity to raise money in concert with whatever is allocated to the county in an effort to show their good faith that they're wanting to pitch in and work toward getting that building built.
Okay. When will we, how long would this go? What would the time frame of the match be?
So the way that it's written in the resolution, it would begin upon passage, and this is something that during further research and further conversations with other stakeholders, there may be some miswording in the last paragraph. The 45 days before the federally mandated ARPA deadline for expenditure of funds you know, that's what the original timeline is. I don't even know if that's worded correctly. I wrote that line, but like I say, through other research on how we're expending all the funds, I don't even know that is going to work. And so I would certainly, you know, open up for any suggestion that anybody else might have. But the idea is that they would have to match that money up to 45 days before the deadline, so that if they were not able to raise the full $250,000, we would have an opportunity to reallocate that money to another project instead of losing it. So the deadline that I am thinking of, and help me here, Eric, I believe it's December 31st of 2024 is the deadline for obligation of funds.
Correct, so that line needs to really not say expenditure, but obligation.
Because expenditure of funds is 2025. 2026.
Yeah.
But we have to have them obligated by 2024. And I believe in my conversation with Ms. Rokel, I used the date December 31st, 2024. Well, the word expenditure is really not correct. Expenditure is 2026. We just have to have them obligated by 2024. And I was mistaken on that. And I'll be happy to change that word if there's not any objection to that, from expenditure to obligation of funds. I can change that, or I can do an amendment if anybody would prefer me to do that.
Would a firm date on there be better, like if you want it done by December 1 or by November 1?
90 days. Well, I mean, like I say, y'all, I'm open to amendments. If you all want to propose an amendment to the resolution, we can do that, and I'll discuss and vote on it. If you'd like to do it that way.
Mr. Secretary, can I make a comment? The 45 days, I don't feel like would be enough time to work out any kind of change that we have to do before. You know, if we went to 45 days before and we figure, okay, they've used $200,000 of it, so we've got 50 left, then we've got to have a budget committee meeting, a resolution, you know, pass. There's a lot of time that's going to elapse in there that 45 days probably wouldn't cover. I would think 90 would be better, but that's just my suggestion.
Okay. Well, we've heard feedback from Commissioner Roach and the mayor. Yes, Ms. Stanley.
I'm gonna say this, and this is on behalf of the supporters. This doesn't have anything to do with them. I appreciate you thinking that you're putting something forth that is a compromise. But I, as a citizen, that gives a lot to this cause, us that are out there demonstrating, because we feel like they're not being treated fairly. We as a community are already funding them. So I don't see anybody else having to match dollar for dollar. Not one person have you asked other than them. So if you make.
The school system matched
$2 million.
$2 million.
Okay. Is
Dollar
that-
for dollar.
Okay. Well, that puts the match for match back on us as the citizens. And when I say us as a citizen, I mean the ones that donate every week, donate every month, donate yearly, monthly, all of us. That puts it back on us to come up with their general funding and to come up with the $250,000 also. And I've heard Mark has made the statement, skin in the game. He wants them to, we as citizens are trying to help them, and I'm speaking on my behalf and the people that are out here with me trying to help them. I mean, we have sent out letters to factories, to lawyers, to doctors. We've tried to get grants. Grants are few and far between, but we are out here every day asking for donations, asking for things, asking for people to help build this. They don't just need the building for more room for animals. If you've been there, you know the ventilation system is non-existent. There's a lot of reasons that this building needs there. And I know everybody says, well, human over animals. What about the humans that work there? What about the human volunteers that work there? I mean, I feel like the community is going to be, all this is going to be put back on us. And I appreciate an effort, but I don't agree with this. In my opinion, I'm not speaking on their behalf. They have a business. I'm talking about the community that supports them and us, that we talk with this. You know, okay, let's do, you said that's a compromise. Give them 150 to start out with, to start building. I can't get anybody to donate because everybody I call, some of the people that we called, okay, when's the date? What's the, you know, the size of the building? And if we don't get enough, I'm sorry.
Cut you off. But if we could continue the conversation amongst commissioners, okay, I think,
Okay.
I appreciate your feedback and always love to hear from you.
Oh, no.
So, but, anyway, we do appreciate your feedback, and with that, I'll open it up. Jason, if you want to respond, or Commissioner Roach.
Yeah, so, I want to thank the Humane Society and your work with me to try and put this resolution forward. I know that it's not been an easy process, and, with that, Mr. Chairman, you know, like I say, if anybody has an amendment that you'd like to propose to the resolution as it is, I'm happy to entertain that.
I have another couple of comments to make. You're saying we're gonna match all of the contributions that come in, including contributions for their operating funds, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so it costs you, what, $150,000 to run for the year?
I don't think we were 240.
Okay, so let's round figure to 150. So if we match that 150 and they're using 150 for operating, that kind of cuts out any money that they could use for expansion, or not any, but that part of the money they could use for expansion.
You know, Mr. Mayor, I love your point. I think that you're trying to make that, you know, how can we help them to use the largest chunk of their own funds, I guess, to build the facility that they feel like they need. I guess my own principled stance on that is I have an issue as a county government official, telling them that the money that they've raised can't be used for some emergency product or emergency situation that's coming up. We don't know what we're gonna face in the next year and a half.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of two separate
Yes.
campaigns, accounts, / whatever you want to call it.
And I understand that point. However, I still want to go back to the fact that if they're raising in excess of their $120,000 that they've used, is that correct? For operating expenses, and they're busting their tail, and Miss Stanley is out doing everything she can to raise money for them. And those funds are allocated for a specific capital project according to what their board of directors has set aside, and they have an emergency, and they have money that they can't use. I don't want to hamstring them with the funds that they raise either.
Understand. So if that's the way it's gonna be worded, and that's fine. But keep in mind that the county toward that $120,000 has already given them 30. So are we gonna match our 30 again? Or is that something else that needs to be considered for one? And then are the gifts in kind going to be valued, and we're gonna match that as well? I just had, several semantics questions when I looked through this resolution.
I'm sorry, I'm letting you answer my question. I was going to ask one clarifying question of the two. In the example you gave earlier, you were discussing if they get to the $250,000 goal, but in the resolution it says up to. Is this an all or nothing resolution, or meaning if they raise 220 of it, that's what we match?
That's correct.
Okay, that's just wanted to make sure I was clear on that.
Yes, we would match whatever they raise. So
Whether it's for general operations
Yes.
or capital projects or anything.
yes.
And is that payment going to be made at this deadline, or is it gonna be made as we go along? See, that's not in here either, so.
And, I guess we could probably add some guidance as far as that to the resolution. And here's the thing that a resolution is never gonna be perfect when it's presented. So if there are concerns that we have, I guess my request is, someone can move to amend it and clarify. It's my resolution, but when I present it, it becomes our resolution. So, I guess I wasn't thinking about that. Maybe I should, Mr. Mayor. Is it a lump sum payment, or is it an ongoing matter? I would imagine that for what they need to build, they're going to need the $250,000 to complete the facility as a whole. So I don't know. What is your what is your stance on, can you complete it in stages? Can you do a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, like with certain parts of that amount as we go? Or is it something where you all can wait until the not 45 days the way it's written before the obligation time?
Well, before when Dave was the president, he had broke it up into different sections and stages of doing it. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it might not get done. How do you feel about it?
The thing is, we just kind of need to know what funds we have in general. Whatever we can match, whatever we can put aside with what you have. And then we have to see, with the amount of money that we have, what we were capable of building. So I don't know at that point if it's gonna be, if we end up that we have $350,000 to build something, could we just get it all right away and start? It just all depends, because we can't even ask for like donations for like roofing and stuff, because at this point, we have no idea if it's gonna be a 500 square foot roof or a 1,500 square foot roof, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's still all up in the air, because we don't know where we're gonna be at for the finances yet.
And next, we want to wait, see what goes on here, so that we can then go to the SWAS and say, okay, for this building, we need how much roofing, how much concrete, how much this, how much that, and then we can go out to the different businesses in this county and ask for, can you donate this, or can you give this to us at cost?
So,
We're kind of stuck.
so with that said, it's gonna take some time anyway.
Right.
A lump sum payment upon the raising of your money, I guess, at the deadline.
That's how I feel about it, yes.
So, I'll move to amend, the resolution and add, at the end of, agrees to match up to $250,000 ARPA contributions, comma, to be paid, and I know we went back and forth on the 45 days and 90 days.
Be a good place to set it right here, whether it's September 1st, 2024, or, that's 90 days out.
September 1st, 2024.
Yeah, it's 90 days out, so you go from there, whichever way you want to go.
I think, let's go September 1st, 2024. So that, contributions, pardon me,
That's 120, I'm sorry, I miscalculated, October 1st.
okay. So contributions, comma, to be paid in lump sum, on October 1st, 2024. That would be that, comma. So then that would give you a lump sum payment on October 1st, 2024. Which is what you're saying, 90 days away from that obligation deadline, correct?
That's 90 days.
Okay, so
Well,
my
maybe
motion
60,
to,
it would be November, et cetera.
my motion to amend then is to add after contributions to be paid in lump sum on October the 1st, 2024, comma. That's the motion.
All right, you've heard the motion made by Commissioner Roach, is there a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Palmer. Any discussion?
Point of clarification, in any of that motion, did you also change expended to obligated?
No, I haven't. I haven't
Could we
changed it.
wrap that all up in one?
No, well, no, because the amendment is two separate things. It would need another amendment in my opinion. Fix this amendment first, and then we can add another.
Okay, make sure we get both.
Could you just briefly state that?
Okay, after $250,000 in ARPA contributions, comma, to be paid in lump sum on October the 1st, 2024.
Go ahead. All right. Commissioner Grant.
Mr. Chairman, I've thought about this thing backwards and forwards, and been accused of a lot of things that I'm not guilty of being against the Humane Society. But there are two sides to the coin. We started out with 880, was what an architect said, no plans. Then we reduced it to 400,000, that Lawson or somebody said, no plans.
Mr. Curran, point of order, sir. We're talking about the amendment right now, just the amendment to lump sum October 21st, or October 1st, 2024. We'll be back to the resolution after we vote on this.
We'll leave it to us.
I apologize.
All right, any other discussion on the amendment?
How do you all feel about that?
I'm okay with that part, but.
That's, well, I'll respond to Mr. Hearns when he gets to that part.
Any, so you guys are okay with the amendment to answer
Yes.
Danny's question? All right. Any other discussion on the amendment? Ms. Davis, will you call the roll, please?
Yes or no?
Danny Alves,
How do you all feel about this? I want your all's recommendation before I vote yes or no on it.
And to be clear, this is, and this is just for the amendment, Danny?
Yes.
They may be talking about the full,
Yeah, I
this is talking
understand.
about them getting the lump sum payment
I don't,
on October 1.
And point of order, Mr. Chair, the discussion is easy, debate's over, we just need to vote.
Understood?
no. Understand.
Right.
Joshua Gallon,
Yes.
Jason Rowe,
Yes.
Robbie Palmer,
Yes.
John Gibson,
Yes.
Tom Kern.
No,
2 no, 4 yes. Motion carries.
All right, so now we're back to the, to discuss the resolution as amended. Any other discussion
There's
on
gonna
this?
have to be another amendment made.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Kermit, something you want to say?
Yes.
make your amendment, sir. Go ahead.
So I move to amend by striking out the term expenditure. Let's see, excuse me. I move to amend by striking out,
Can I make a suggestion?
from to match any funds raised from the time of, no. Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
If you change that last paragraph to say to match any funds raised from the time of passage of this resolution until September 30th, 2024.
October.
September 30th, and then October 1st is the day. So up to September 30th, 2024, which is which is 90 days prior to the deadline for expenditure of funds, or obligation of funds.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, you'll have to, I will make that amendment, 'cause that's what I'm.
That's just a suggestion, but it's gonna be worded funny if we leave in up to X number of days when once we've already put a date in there.
All right, so, Ms. Sarah, I move to amend by changing the final paragraph so that it will read, therefore be it resolved, the Hawkins County Commission approve a matching donation from the American Rescue Plan Act funds in the amount of up to $250,000
To match any funds raised
to
from the
match
time
any
of
funds
passage.
raised from the time of passage of this resolution up to September the 30th, 2024,
Which is the deadline for obligation of funds,
which is,
which is 90 days prior to the obligation.
which is 90 days prior to the deadline for obligation of funds.
All right, you all heard the amendment? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Palmer. Any discussion on changing that last paragraph? All right, if not, we'll do a voice vote on this, or? Okay, let's do a roll call.
John Gibson,
Yes.
Robbie Palmer,
Yes.
Danny Alves,
Yes.
Tom Kern,
Yes.
Joshua Gallon,
Yes.
Jason Rowe.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so with that, we're back to discussing the resolution as amended. Mr. Kern, did you have anything else you wanted to?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions?
I have a question. Go ahead. That's good. There was some discussion, I recall who actually brought it up about what we were going to classify as donation, if it would be in kind or strictly monetary donation, or if we're going to count the 30,000 that gets paid out through the county. After we're kind of just reading through here and not totally just nitpicking words here, contribution through their own independent fundraising, would that be the opinion that would clear up the $30,000. If it's their independent fundraising, that doesn't include the amount that we're donating.
So,
Because I don't want to turn it down, we're matching ourselves at that point. And the same with the in-kind donations. I feel like that's something that'll be hard to track bag of dog food, is that going towards I just thought we had put a few clarifying points along those lines of towards it.
yeah, so, and I understand that, and, when I look at the $30,000 that we allocate for them annually in the budget, I mean, it's considered charitable giving by the county government. And I guess if that's the case, other municipalities make donations as well. Russell City donated $8,000 last year.
8,000 a year.
What other municipalities donate?
Seboynesville and Mount Carmel and Churchill, we bill per animal. They don't do
Churchill
charitable
doesn't pay
donation.
per animal anymore.
I'm sorry.
The mayor in Churchill told me they don't pay per animal anymore.
Rarely we'll get something if an animal shows up on the mayor's property, the dog will come to us, but in general, they don't. And I didn't mean that against you, I'm just saying, that's right.
No, he told me that was not their policy anymore,
Right.
so I've tried to help y'all with the municipalities. I mean, they need to kick in as well.
They do.
So, I mean, that's just a discussion I'd have with them. And their contribution, that's not county funds. And I don't mind matching that with again, I say I don't mind, it's up to you all. I don't think it would be inappropriate to match their money. But to match our money would be, in my mind, a little questionable.
Well, I mean, I'll entertain an amendment to that fact.
So I make a motion to make the amendment, so this will be changing, at their own independent fundraising, excluding county donated funds, to include only monetary fundraising efforts. Will that address both of in-kind and?
No, but I have a question on that.
So hold up just a minute, before we get into that. So you've heard his amendment, is that how you want it to read, Mr. Gibson?
I'm hopefully trying to, I'm just throwing it out there to clear out these 2 points of, are we counting in-kind donations or not, kind of yes or no, and are we excluding the $30,000 the county's donating? So I'm taking out let me restate the motion. Make the motion through their own independent fundraising, excluding county donated funds. That's the motion.
And you're saying, so you're not going to say to include only monetary, you're not excluding them?
I figure we could look at that as a separate issue.
If they're doing proper bookkeeping, their in-kind funds count as income. And we probably should match it, and they probably should be reporting it correctly.
Okay, so you've heard the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been seconded by Commissioner Roach. Is there any discussion, specifically on excluding us matching our own contribution to the Humane Society? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call.
Tom Kern,
Yes.
John Gibson.
Yes.
Joshua Gillum,
Yes.
Jason Roach,
Yes.
Robin Palmer,
Yes.
and Danny Ellis.
Yes.
Motion
Which
carries.
paragraph does that go in, John?
The second paragraph.
The resolution references the all capital.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we're back to the resolution. Any other questions or discussion on this?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
This is for you know, the Humane Society. And these are questions from people in my district. One, the first one is, do you have an individual capital project fund?
No, we do not.
So the 120,000 to 150,000 with the county donation, that's all in one account, is
That and a spay neuter account, I believe.
Right.
We have a separate spay neuter account.
But no dedicated capital projects fund.
No.
The second question, personally, when I did an Eagle Scout project, my job was to raise donations. I would approach local businesses for supplies needed. I feel like the citizens of Hawkins County, they want to help, we want to help, county businesses want to help, they don't know how to help. Have you reached out to other local businesses, any of the lumber companies, concrete companies, roofing companies, and said, hey, we're looking to build a building, we need this X amount of materials? Have you reached out and said, what can you all donate?
That we're kind of waiting on to see what the resolution was as to how much money we would have, so we know what size building that we could build.
Okay.
So once that's done, my plan is to go to all these places.
But right now, we don't know if it's gonna be 1,000 square feet or 2,000.
I want to go to the concrete place and say, could you pour us, 500 square foot of concrete? And they say, oh yeah, we'll do that for free. And it turns out we need 1,000.
Absolutely. And of course, I'm assuming you get with your contractor and say, hey,
Correct. How
can
much
we
do
get
you
it? Yeah, exactly. I think you'll be surprised at how much you could probably get donated.
Right.
And the third question was from the Bulls Gap area. How often have you responded to the Bulls Gap area for animals at large or issues over there?
We have. I know what, personally, I've been to Bulls Gap to get animals that are running at large or emaciated, or we're everywhere in the county.
I'm not being disrespectful, but that's not their job.
Right, we're not animal
They're not
control,
animal
we do
control.
it because we care.
Control, I'm
Well,
just
you
saying.
said respond to Bulls Gap.
What I mean by that, Commissioner Alves, is citizens have asked, how often are they over here? We never see them over here.
Well, they're at the Humane Society. They're out there working. I feel for you.
Right.
Because some of us is against this, we're dangling a carrot in front of you.
It is, it's a carrot in front of us, but if we can't get 400,000 or any lump sum up front, we have to do what we gotta do to
I'm just
try to
asking
help
a question.
ourselves.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
But we're all over the county, whenever we get called, we get calls for emaciated dogs, off St. Clair Road, we get calls for wherever, and we go as much as we can, but we're all limited by our space, but we try to help everybody.
Yeah, and we're losing because we're not animal control. If it's a dangerous animal,
We can't take
we
it.
can't take it, we can't go out and get it, and then we have to call the police to go with us. And we have to wait on them because we can't just walk on somebody's property and take their animal.
Like I said, just
So
asking
you
a
can,
question.
no, that's fine, then. Maybe they'll understand.
That's all.
Any other questions or discussion?
Can I respond to something Mr. Kern said?
Sure.
When you were saying before about no plans, there was plans drawn up by an architect for the $880,000 building. There were plans drawn up by Rob Lawson. I don't know if you weren't on the committee at that point, but there have been plans and
they're
everything under the sun submitted to the commissioners. I don't know, like I said, if you weren't here at the time, I'm not sure.
But there's probably.
I stand corrected, ma'am. I did-
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I did not have that available to me,
Okay,
so if you did it, I stand corrected.
okay.
Some of that, Commissioner Kern, may be on the ad hoc committee as well, right? So some of that stuff may not have made to the commissioners.
I haven't seen anything on it, sir.
I understand, yeah.
I'd be happy to get you a copy.
Mr. Chairman, I'm calling for a question on the motion.
All right, question's been called. With that,
Commissioner Gill, may I ask a question, just making sure, all these amendments will be presented to the full commission,
Yes.
correct? Okay, just making.
we don't have to vote, it'll be
I will
presented
have
as
to,
amended.
I will have to amend it in my original resolution and resubmit it, I'm assuming to you as amended.
Yes, and then we can put it out to the full commission. Thank you.
And when you send it,
All right.
copy it to me.
The question's been called. Ms. Davis, will you call the roll, please?
Tom Kern,
No.
John Gibson,
Yes.
Danny Alves,
Yes.
Robbie Parr,
Yes.
Joshua Gillum,
Yes.
Jason Rhodes.
Yes.
5 yes, 1 no. Motion carries.
Now that was for forwarding it to the full commission, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.